It is finally here, draft day. And if you are excited, type me down in the comments section below. I want to see a sea of me's. Now, while you're typing me, if you have not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do so because we will be breaking down the Falcons' number 8 pick. If they stay at number 8, a lot of rumors and buzz out there about trading back. So don't miss a thing when you're subbed to the channel. What's going on, Falcons fans? It is finally here. The wait is over. NFL Draft Day is here. So we have a lot to go over in the final hours before the Carolina Panthers select Bryce Young. So with that being said, some of the big J's, some of the gurus, the analysts, the experts, if you will, put out another final mock draft and who they have going where in round 1. So we're going to check out Todd, McShay, and Mel Kiper's final 2023 NFL mock draft. And let's start with the pumpkin eater Mel Kiper. So he had Atlanta going with Tyree Wilson at number 8. This is the dream. This is the goal. Get Tyree Wilson. He's going to hopefully be a long-term edge rusher for this team. He is a phenomenal player. He has all the traits you look for in a pass rusher. He is bigger, faster, bendier than Will Anderson. He just played in a Texas Tech defense that does not benefit a lot of pass rushers. Name a single pass rusher to come from Texas Tech. You're not going to think of many. In the NFL, it'll be different results. He is our go-to guy at number 8. The big question is, will he even make it that far? Now, here's what Mel Kiper said in his latest mock draft. I think Atlanta would love to grab one of the top corners, but they're off the board in this scenario. The 6'6" Wilson has a high ceiling as a pass rusher. Even if he was inconsistent at times in college, he would fill a huge hole here. If our sweet prince comes home, well, maybe not home, but he comes to his new home in Atlanta, there's going to be a lot of parties going on in ATL because Tyree Wilson can hopefully be what Vic Beasley was supposed to be, right? Hopefully be that pass rusher that's going to put up double-digit sacks for multiple straight seasons. Hopefully end the drought of Atlanta not having a consistent pass rush year after year. Last season for the Red Raiders, Tyree Wilson had 14 tackles for loss and 7 sacks. You got to remember, Texas Tech, runs a Big 12 defense. Usually 3 down linemen. They're dropping a lot of guys into pass coverage. When you're only rushing 3, offensive linemen can do a lot more double teams. So for Wilson to get 7 sacks and a 3 down lineman front where they're not bringing outside linebackers, that just shows what he could do when he does have 4 or 5 other guys rushing alongside him. Where would he fit in on this depth chart? Remains to be seen if he would be a 5-technique defensive end or an outside linebacker. That's up for the individual teams to figure out, but I sure believe they will find a role for him with no problem at all, whether it is rotation with Calais Campbell and David Onyemata and Tyree Wilson's a permanent 5-technique, or maybe he's an outside linebacker, and when it's obvious passing situations, 3rd and 10, they bump him inside and they bring an extra edge rusher off the side. So what say you? Will the Falcons end up getting Tyree Wilson? I know we have all spent a lot of hours looking over various mock drafts. Do you believe Wilson will be there at number 8 for Atlanta? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Now, here at Chat Sports, we are live for all 3 days of the draft. So join us tonight, 6 o'clock Eastern, 5 p.m. Central, as we break down the first day of the NFL Draft and then more wall-to-wall coverage for days 2 and 3. Now, as for the other mock draft from Bristol, Todd McShay had the Falcons selecting cornerback Devon Witherspoon. He's probably the most complete cornerback in terms of the skill set you look for in a DB. I prefer Christian Gonzalez because of that rare size and speed, but Witherspoon is right there with him. Now, here's what Todd McShay said on drafting Witherspoon for Atlanta. Todd McShay saying, "What a pick this would be for the Falcons. Who could put Witherspoon opposite A.J. Terrell to shut down opponent receiving cores every Sunday? I love Witherspoon's physicality and instincts in coverage, and he can make plays on the ball. He intercepted 3 passes last season and broke up 14 more. As an aside, I do think Texas running back Bijan Robinson could be in consideration, but more so if Atlanta moves back from number 8. I would love really either of these players, or tossing Christian Gonzalez, who we have spent a lot of time covering on this channel. Either one, in my opinion, is a great pick. If I had to pick one, I would probably lean towards Tyree Wilson, even though Atlanta has spent way more energy and money in free agency at the edge rusher spot, at the defensive line and whatnot. I still don't see any long-term pieces right now outside of Grady Jarrett, and his number one job is not to lead the team in sacks. It's kind of a good / bad thing if that happens. Good because that means he's a great player. Bad because you should have better pass rushers than your interior defensive linemen. Now, Devon Witherspoon, we probably should have given more airtime to on this channel. So to kind of cover our tails here on the last day, here is some background information on the Fighting Illini. Overall PFF grade, 92. That is insane. Like, you do not see 92 PFF corners come out every single year in the draft. Coverage grade, 92.5. Maybe not the best run defender, but you know what? That's what tackling is for in the NFL when it comes to coaching. 14 pass breakups and 3 interceptions. Now, there are some other great corners in this draft class. Christian Gonzalez is our other guy. He's a bit bigger than Devon Witherspoon. Maybe he doesn't have as great as instincts or ball skills as Witherspoon does, but Gonzalez, he is 6'2", 6'1", and he has great 40 speed. Now, Joey Porter Jr., the son of Joey Porter Sr., the Steelers legend, is probably going to go in the teens. I think he'll be the 3rd corner taken in this draft. The only way I see Atlanta going with him is if they trade back and Gonzalez and Witherspoon are gone and Atlanta has their heart set on drafting a CB. So that's really the only path I see for JPJ coming to ATL. So be the GM. Would you draft Devon Witherspoon if he is there at number 8? If you have your pick between Tyree Wilson and Witherspoon, who are you going with? I'm going to lean towards Wilson because I just want to see this team get a permanent edge rusher. And I think you can make do with Jeff Okudah and A.J. Terrell, and you find a corner in round 2 to bring some more CB2 type of competition into training camp. Some more rumors in the NFL world before the NFL draft gets underway. Good old Dov tweeting out the Commanders could trade one of their talented pass rushers, either defensive end Chase Young or defensive end Montez Sweat during the NFL draft. Both are pending free agents in 2024 from Dan Graziano at ESPN. So could the Falcons be in the mix for one of these two players? I'm going to assume of the 31 other teams in the NFL, I would say probably like 28 to 29 in their war rooms are at least talking about, would it make sense for us to pick up the phone and call Ron Rivera in Washington? That question might be quickly answered with no for a lot of teams, but I think the Atlanta Falcons should never say no that quickly to pursuing more edge rushers because, once again, it just cannot be overstated how big of a need this is for the team moving forward. So if I take a swing at it, what could it look like? A hypothetical trade, if you will. Maybe the Falcons and the Commanders swap first-round picks. Atlanta moves back 8 spots, and they also get Montez Sweat or Chase Young. I heard that Josina Anderson reported that the Commanders aren't dying to move on from Chase Young. They want at least 2 first-rounders. They're not getting that. My guess is that's what they're telling Josina, so that the conversation starts at 2 first-rounders, and then they agree on maybe just 1 first-rounder. So that's my best stab at what a trade could look like for Atlanta if they are hell-bent getting Montez Sweat or Chase Young. It's just something to keep an eye on. Remember last year's draft? A.J. Brown got traded during the draft. Marquise Brown got traded during the draft. So do not rule out any draft day trades mid-draft. DeAndre Hopkins is a name to keep an eye on. So definitely keep your pulse on what's going on with Washington at the moment. That is it for our final Falcons video before the draft gets underway. Next time we'll be talking to you guys, it will be recapping Atlanta's first-round pick. Hopefully it's Tyree Wilson. If not, it's Christian Gonzalez. And if not, it's because they traded back and they got some second-round picks. And maybe they got Bijan Robinson.